Oh, after the woke is gone, how can we carry on when common sense is gone? Woo! What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. You guys saw the goofy-ass thumbnail, but guys, that is my first attempt at a personalized thumbnail. Okay, I normally don't do the fancy shit, you know what I mean, but I did it this time, you know what I mean. So my son is laughing at it because he says my eyes are all bugged out and shit, but you know, it is what it is, guys. I'm trying, you know. But listen, guys, this video, you saw it. It says, what comes after woke? You know, after the woke is gone, where do we go as a society? Because we've taken things just about as far as they can go these days. We're turning on each other. We're pointing. Fingers are pointing all over the place. You know, it's like infested all of our sci-fi and sci-fantasy and news and music and sports and entertainment. It's all over the place. Everything has got to be woke to the point where you can't even hardly express yourself because you're so afraid that you're going to offend somebody and be canceled. It's like that's the culture that we're living in right now, where you can take like a Gina Carano, for example, who actually spoke the truth, but just because people don't like to hear the truth these days, you can actually demonize someone, and these people don't realize that you're actually helping the people who will enslave you. Yes, I said enslave you. I mean inside of your mind. Because as your mind gets narrower and narrower and narrower and more narrow, okay, you got to realize it's going to mess with your ability to actually reason, to have common sense, and to be able to effectively pass that on to our children. So each generation will get dumber and dumber, you know, as time goes on, because we're not protecting our ability to be able to actually have a thought. So I've been talking to people, and I do love talking, you know, I love talking, but I love listening more, okay? So I should say that. I've been listening to people, right? And I was talking to someone who I love very dearly, who I respect very much. You know, this person is highly intelligent. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever. But, you know, this person expressed to me that they would love to see every traditionally white character turned black. All of them, every last one. And on top of that, they want to have new black characters. So they want a complete takeover. They see nothing wrong with every character being black. They see nothing wrong with having more new characters to be black. They see nothing wrong with having the black national anthem play at the NFL games and stuff. They're all for it. And my thing is, you don't think that that's just a little bit extreme and a little bit insensitive to other cultures? Like, I can understand, I guess, on a very, very basic level, how you would cheer for that if you were that group. You know, in this case, we're talking about black, okay? If you're black and you're very, very basic in your thinking, no disrespect, I could see how you would cheer for something like that. You know what I mean? But the wisdom in it, I would beg people to consider the wisdom, because you're not taking over the world, okay? As long as we're here, we're going to be sharing the world with people who are diverse, you know, who have different cultures and things. So why would you want to have it on lock? Everything is about you. What is it? You are everything, and everything is you. You want everything to be you, and you don't want anybody else to be able to express their culture or pride in their culture without you categorizing them as racist. You know, just because they're proud to be who they are, you're proud to be who you are, right? So surely there should be room for them to be proud of who they are. But this is what passes for woke in this woke culture that we're in. It favors one culture over the others, and it's fucking unrealistic, you know? And that's what I'm saying. That's what I stand for. Surely you can realize how this is the very ingredient for war and strife and conflict. Because you cannot, and you would think that people who have been subjugated, people who have been degraded and discriminated against and oppressed, you would think they, of all people, would know that doing that to another culture, to other people, is not the way to go. There is no security to be found in that. Your children will always be in danger, because any time that you oppress people, There's going to be uprising. There's going to be seeds of rebellion. We're Star Wars fans. We know this. This is where rebellion comes from. Anytime that you oppress other people, you know? But yet and still, I'm alarmed to say that this is what I have heard. And this is what feeds woke culture. So here we are, you know, in this day and age where every character has to be reimagined as a different race other than white, okay? Because there's no traditionally black character that's going to be reimagined as white. So it just goes one way. Like I said, that's my problem with CRT, critical race theory, you know, all this stuff, because it just goes one way. And anything that just goes one way, like I said, you run the risk of causing discrimination and racism in the other direction. You know what I mean? It's just, that's human nature. You know, everything can't be about race. You have to learn from humanity. So you have this day and age that we're living in now where they're planting these seeds where that's what we have. You know, everything is about being woke. Everything is about turning it around. You want to teach white kids that they're wrong and they're evil and they're privileged and all this stuff, even though they were born not doing any of that. You know, they're born in this day and age, in this century right here, just like young black kids. Why should they have the hang up of believing that they're oppressed when they should be born free? And what people don't realize is that you're conditioning them to be born as an oppressed people inside of their mind. Okay, everyone thinks about chains and shackles, but what are you teaching kids when you drill terms like white supremacy into their minds before they're mature enough to even understand the context of it? You know, before they're even mature enough to understand the ramifications of race and the history of the complicated history of racism in America, you know, let alone their own potential. They haven't even matured to their own potential, but you want to immediately start categorizing them as an oppressed, marginalized people. So there it is, woke culture. But what I'm seeing is, since everything is getting so damn extreme right now, to the point where it's not even like realistic anymore, you know, in our expectations of what we think woke culture is supposed to be, there will come a time when wokeness will be played out. There will come a time when everyone just gets tired of it, because you can blackwash Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and, you know, James Bond and The Hobbit and, you know, everything you want. You can do that if you want to, but it's always going to be created by that white person. All right. It's always going to be a creation of that, you know, so no matter what you do, Spider-Man is always going to be created by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, you know, the creators, Jack Kirby. You know, that's not going to change. You can't blackwash creators. So you're never going to own anything. You know what I mean? So sooner or later, people are going to get tired of it and they're going to take it back. The owners will take it back. You're not an owner, so you can't take shit. It doesn't work that way. All right. So what I'm saying is, what comes after the woke? After you got through guilting everybody, after you got through grandstanding and whining and complaining and stopping sports games and interrupting political rallies, you know, and laying down in the street and renaming streets and stuff like that. What comes after that when everyone is tired of listening to you? Discrimination is always going to exist, you know? Racism is always going to exist, all right? Despite these people's greatest attempts at mind control and everything, it's not human to just be like, oh, we just love everybody. That's the most creepiest thing in the world. It's never going to happen, especially when you're just trying to do it through one race, because we all have the capacity to hate each other. I talked about that on the last video, you know? So what happens when you still want to talk about legitimate issues of racism and prejudice and discrimination? The conversation will be dead because you took it too far. That's what comes after the woke. What comes after the woke is intolerance. And you're beginning to see it right now. People are just tired of hearing it. People are losing their ability to be able to actually tell the difference between a real cause and a fake ass empty cause. just empty virtue signaling. You know, these days, everyone feels like anytime you bring up issues of race or sexuality, it's got to be virtue signaling. They've lost their ability to be able to distinguish between what's a real conversation and what's a real cause and what is just virtue signaling, you know, in identity politics. That's the age that we're living in now. We've taken it too far. And people need to see this. All people need to understand that, because this is an actual important issue. These are important issues to be able to live with one another and tolerate one another and understand each other without constantly pointing at everybody and trying to damn people and condemn them just because you don't like the way they said it. You don't like the way they categorized or visualized a certain character. So you're going to make a big old to-do out of it. You know, to the point where, like I said, people just get tired of it. So what comes after the woke? What comes after the woke is a much less tolerant society, a much less intelligent, analytical society. Quite frankly, a dumber society is what comes after woke culture, after the woke. You know, we have to put the brakes on this. You know, we have to stop it. You know, and in the black community, you can't just go full balls to the wall and say, yeah, that's right. Give it all to us. Give it all to us. You know, you're going to listen to our black national anthem and you're going to like it. And you're going to, no, it's never going to happen. Never. And contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of black people who don't believe in that. When it comes to gay people, you know, there's a lot of gay people who don't believe in having themselves cast as victims and having that victimhood weaponized, you know? But you don't think about that. The only thing you think about is sticking it to those white people, you know, but it goes deeper than that. It certainly goes deeper than that for our children. You got to really look at that. You got to get out of the ass of white people and start thinking about what this means to you as a human being, you know? Stop listening to the media as they try to put everything into this neat little racial box and everything like that. That it just goes against humanity. Like I said before, at the end of the day, humanity is what we should be emphasizing and what we should be stressing. That's the only way we're going to ever find some common ground. It's as human beings, you know? So there it is, guys. We really need to challenge ourselves to start thinking about what comes after the woke. What comes after woke culture? Are we going to be better or worse off, you know, for this? Like Sean Connery used to say in the Untouchables, you know, how do you think it feels now? Better or worse? I think, you know, for my part, I believe that we're going to be worse off for this if we don't challenge ourselves to push back on this and start having more common sense here. But if you understand at all what I'm talking about, guys, you can get in the comment section and let me know. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. I remain on Twitter because my people are on Twitter. For people who keep asking me, why am I on Twitter? My Dark Council brothers are on Twitter. You know, all of the other creators that I respect and I want to follow are there. I don't care about the bullshit that goes on there, guys. It doesn't get to me at all. You don't see me having to take a break off Twitter because it really doesn't affect me that way. It really doesn't. I know how to put everything exactly where it belongs. But anyway, if you're not a Twitter person, that's fine. Catch me on the next one. Thank you guys for listening. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.